Okay, we are live. We are live. We are live. Where do I turn? Why is it not public? Why is it not public? Okay, we are actually live in the building. Okay. Let me just connect my tripod. Now, today's the discussion is actually, will this be the last bull run? Now, I know a lot of people keep saying that this is the last chance to get rich with crypto. And we're going to break down whether I disagree or I agree in this live stream, right? Now, let me just make sure I have everything situated. Trying to stack this tripod up like that. Yeah. So I just want to start the stream by saying a great good morning to everybody awake right now in the stream, everybody in the world, around the world right now. So we're gonna actually break down whether this is the final bull run or not. Okay, is 2025 your final chance to actually get rich with ICP, Hbar, QNC, LCX, Kaspa, and these other coins, right? Let me just make sure my okay, yeah, we are actually live, we are actually audio is checked. So as I was saying, right, is 2025 really your last chance to get rich in crypto? Now, there's a couple of things we have to ask ourselves before we actually agree with saying, oh yeah, this is the last chance to get rich in crypto. There's a couple of things you have to ask yourself. Like, are these public companies here gonna realistically dump all their Bitcoin and actually make it go down to zero after 2025? Huge institutions, right? Are they gonna actually sell their crypto? Are they actually gonna sell all their entire bag and make it go all the way to zero? I want to know, like, are people that work for these billion-dollar companies just gonna leave crypto, or do you think they actually play long-term games? Because there's no way that MicroStrategy holds $10 billion worth and is saying, you know what, this is a short-term play. They see the future of crypto, they see the future of Bitcoin, and they see the future of digital currency, okay? So it's like, I don't see no reason why you would think that 2025 is going to be the last bull run. I just don't understand it, because it's to the point where, like, when we look at Bitcoin, it literally follows a 4-year cycle every time. Like, if we just go on an all graph, it's literally pumped every 4 years. So it's to the point where, like, I don't like, it follows the law of power. That's one thing about Bitcoin. Like, we can say, okay, majority of coins are not going to be here in 2030. We could say that. We could say possibly after regulation, majority of coins are no longer going to be here, right? But what we will not say is that Bitcoin is going to zero, because it just simply follows the power law. Like, there was a video, right? I might be able to get it up. Let me try and find it for you guys. Bitcoin bull run, right? It's actually a great video to watch. Now it says Bitcoin bull run prediction. I think it's up here, but yeah, this dude called Andre Gig, right? We're gonna watch this video because he explains it perfectly, right? He explains perfectly. Andre shit. He explains perfectly, like, how Bitcoin follows the power law. Right now, on this video here, we're gonna actually watch it together and see what he says.
Welcome
right
to Marco's going away party.
Who's Marco?
Exactly.
Accurate.
Let me just get my headphones. Let me put my headphones on real quick. But yeah, shout out to the 4 in the stream. There's 4 in the stream, so that should be 4 likes. If you support my videos and you support my channel, make sure you please smash the like button. That is the way to sponsor the video. If you want to be a channel sponsor, the sponsor button is a like button. That's all you have to do for free. But yeah, let's get into this.
We tracked the last 15 years of Bitcoin's price, and I want to show you what this formula says Bitcoin should be worth 10 years from now. I know it sounds crazy, but check this out. It's math and science. Now, if a magician was to show you a deck of cards, at first you might look at it and see that it looks like a random shuffled deck of cards, and you wouldn't necessarily know its secrets, because the secret is that it's a stacked deck of cards, and it allows me to cut to a very specific playing card, like the King of Spades. Is that the King of Spades? Yeah, that would have been awkward. But when we look out at the universe, most of us see our lives as completely random. Like everything is chaos based on unpredictable systems that interact with each other in no specific way. But believe it or not, the universe is like a stacked deck of cards. It also has a pattern to it, except the universe is so big and so complex, we can't see those patterns, but they're there, hidden inside of mathematics in what are called power laws. Power laws can tell us how big earthquakes get. They can tell us how big cities get. They can be used to explain the distribution of wealth around the world, the popularity of words inside of books and languages, the size of brains versus the size of bodies, the length of roads in cities, the size of craters on the moon, and how long it takes for planets to orbit around the sun. Now, power laws help us find relationships between two very different things in a way that allows us to observe the past and make predictions about the future in everything, in biology, society, technology, and even financial markets. Now, an astrophysicist applied mathematics and recently discovered that Bitcoin has followed one of these laws of power. So if you're the kind of nerd that likes this stuff, let's do a deep dive from which there is no coming out of, and I'm going to show you how these laws of power describe the secrets of the universe and what it says Bitcoin's price could be worth at the next cycle peak and 10 years from now. So let's get into it. Hi, my name is Andre Jick. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the magic of the power laws. So let me give you an example of one of the coolest power laws from one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, Michael from Vsauce, and his video, The Ziff Mystery. Now, in his video, Michael explains that the most popular English words of all time are the, of, and to a, in is I, that it for you was with on as have but be they. Sounds like some sort of an old spell for a ritual, but believe it or not, if you graph the most popular words that are written or spoken, you'll start to see a pattern that you wouldn't think should be there. You'll find that the second most popular word will show up half as often as the first. The third most popular word will appear 1/3 as often as the first. The fourth word will appear 1/4 as often, and the fifth one as fifth as often, and so on and so forth for every single word. Each word's popularity is directly proportional to 1 divided by its rank. Now, if you plot this rank and frequency on a log-log chart, you'll see a perfectly straight line revealing the clue that language is an example of a power law in action. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's kind of a weird coincidence, but how is it useful that you can draw a straight line through a bunch of dots? It's useful because if you can find the exponential relationship between two different things, you can make some really accurate predictions about it. In Michael's video, he was able to guess that the word sauce should appear roughly 30,000 times between all its uses on Wikipedia and the Gutenberg project, and his guess came extremely close to reality. Now, this ability to make accurate predictions applies not just to the English language, but to every language in the world, including ancient languages we still haven't fully figured out. And the question is, how is something so humanly complex and so unique as language is easily predictable by mathematics? But first, hey gang, welcome to your 8-minute ab workout routine. off you have percent judgment their data averages in the link video base. An astronomer named Johannes Kepler discovered that there's a power law relationship between how far away a planet was from the sun and how long it took that planet to orbit around the sun. Turns out, knowing this secret power law allowed us to predict this motion for every single planet in our solar system. And the relationship there, once plotted, is again in a perfectly straight line. Why? Why is there a pattern to space rocks circling around a giant ball of fire? Shouldn't it be kind of random? You're probably like, what is this video about? Is this even about Bitcoin? How did I get lost in this YouTube recommended section at 2 a.m.? I promise I'll get to the Bitcoin part and connect the dots, but this is so much more interesting than Bitcoin because it gets even crazier.
Wow, we got hit with an ad. We got hit with an advert. I was actually deep into the video.
Almost exactly 414 years ago, in the year 1610, before Galileo found the answer to the question of what was at the center of our solar system and that the Earth orbited around the sun, he had a different question. Why weren't there really big animals? And it's a good question. Like, what's the biggest animal could ever get? And using his early studies of animal data, he found that as an animal doubled in size, its mass increased by a factor of 8 times. And he also discovered that the bone area would only grow by 4 times. He calculated that if a gorilla got 10 times bigger, its mass would go up by 1,000 times, but its bone size would only go up by a factor of 100. So using this power law is how we're able to predict and understand that there's a physical limit to how big an animal could get. And beyond the limit, it would just crush itself underneath its own weight. And that's how we know that King Kong can't really exist. At least not with the gravity that's here on Earth. I mean, he might exist. I haven't seen him. Maybe he's an amphibian. But that's why the biggest living creature that has ever existed in the history of Earth is also underwater, the blue whale. Now, throughout the next few centuries, we keep on discovering these power laws, and 322 years later, in the year 1932, Max Kleiber discovered another power law. It was the metabolic rate, or the energy consumption of living things as it relates to their size. And when mapped out again on a log scale,
you're probably thinking, right, like, what's he got? Why does he keep talking about the power law, right? But you gotta understand that when it comes to Bitcoin, it does follow a power law that happens every 4 years. This is the reason why I don't believe that we are in the last cycle. That this is the last cycle before we can get rich, or this is the last cycle to get rich. I do believe like it will keep going up in a line long term with dips in between that. But let's carry on.
Created a perfect line. Even brain size versus physical size was found to have a power law. And as Michael from Vsauce pointed out, power laws predicted a lot of other things as well, like solar flare intensity.
We have 7 in the stream, there should be 7 likes. We have 8 in the stream, there should be 8 likes. If you haven't hit the like button, smash the like button. It's free, don't cost a penny. Okay, let's go, smash the like button.
Protein sequences, the amount of views a website gets, how strong earthquakes are, how often academic papers are referenced, last names, the firing patterns of neural networks, ingredients used for cooking, the number of phone calls people get, the diameter of craters on the moon, how often people die in wars, chess move openers, and the rate at which people forget. And just in case you need more proof that we live in a simulation world governed by invisibly written laws, there's over 100 power laws that describe patterns in things that shouldn't exist. Patterns in artificial intelligence, astronomy, physics, psychology, biology, meteorology, mathematics, economics, and finance. So then the question is, can this model be used to predict the price of Bitcoin? And this is what I've been setting you up for this entire video. According to astrophysicist Giovanni Santastasi, who discovered this connection, he says that 15 years of data shows that Bitcoin also follows a power law principle. Giovanni's theory says that Bitcoin's price is not as random as it seems. There is randomness to it, but over the long term, Bitcoin's price follows a specific mathematical model. And it's not just a mathematical formula that some guy drew a line through, but instead, it follows a power law that are like the ones observed throughout the universe. Now, what I want to show you right now is a graph that's going to look kind of similar to what you might have seen before, but this one is not the stock to flow model. It's very different. So here's what it looks like. The yellow line represents the current price. The red line represents what's called the support line, which is the level Bitcoin usually never drops below, and it's been incredibly accurate. The green line is what's called the linear regression line, which you can think of sort of like the fair value price, where Bitcoin will eventually go back to, and the purple line is the resistance line that Bitcoin typically maxes out at. And this one is the hardest to predict. By the way, that chart that I just showed you is a log linear chart, which has been super useful in telling us where the bottom of Bitcoin is. And over the last 15 years, it's been scary accurate. Now another chart that's a log chart, like the one that we see in power laws, is much more useful in telling us when Bitcoin's price could 10x and then 10x again and again. So let me show you that right now. The days on the x-axis start from the first block that was ever mined, called the Genesis block, which advances by a factor of 10. And the same is true for its price on the y-axis. And on this chart, you can see just how incredibly linear Bitcoin's growth has been, especially if you remove the outliers. Now for Bitcoin, these outliers look really big. But the truth is, outliers exist in every system. But with enough data over time, they just become less noticeable. Now, if this sounds extremely confusing, because it does to me, I did get in touch with Giovanni, who has the PhD in astrophysics, who created all these charts and who noticed the relationship of the power law to Bitcoin, and here's what he said.
So the beauty of that is basically showing how Bitcoin is scaling up. So this concept of scale. A scale is these changes in order of magnitude, right? So you go from 1 to 10 to 100 to 1,000, right? It is important because Bitcoin went from being basically nothing, literally nothing, or a fraction of a dollar, right? And then it went to $1 and people got excited, and it went to 10 and 100,000, right? So in few years, in 15 years, it went up almost 6 orders of magnitude. That is amazing. Almost, I think actually no assets on earth has done that in the history of mankind, but I know, right? And so it's important to look at the scale.
Based on what this graph is showing us on a log scale,
Yes.
What will Bitcoin's peak be at the next cycle?
So this is the next peak, right? So here, so I will say close to 200, close to 200. Let's take the worst case scenario that it continues to do this mathematical trend. The peaks are on an exponential decay, so you can calculate what will be the next peak based on that, at least 150,000. So I'm pretty sure of it.
And that's in what year?
Middle of 2025.
And what happens in 10 years?
Everybody wants to know when it is a million, right? So let me tell you that it will be 1 million in
Damn,
So
he
if you
would
wanna
never
train
add.
profitably,
Left me on a
best place to start
cliffhanger
is probably
there.
Just go to the
2033. So July of 2033.
Now, I'm generally kind of skeptical, and I think to myself, but Giovanni, couldn't you draw a line through just about any set of data points? Like if you mapped out gold or the stock market and you drew it on a log scale, wouldn't you be able to draw a line straight through that and find some kind of pattern? Turns out, you can't, and he ran the numbers. Here's gold, for example, over a 35-year period on a log scale. You can't draw a line through it in any linear kind of way that shows a pattern because there is no power law in time here. Also, here's the S&P 500 over a 70-year period. You almost can if you don't start from the beginning, and that might be a function of leaving the gold standard and inflation. But here's the crazy part that I left out. All the lines that you saw drawn in all these graphs were not drawn by human hands. Giovanni doesn't look at these graphs and thinks, there's a pattern here, I think I'll draw a line through it. All the lines that were drawn as functions of mathematical formulas that are way over my head, but Giovanni did show me that there's a way to measure the accuracy of these models based on something called regression, which is the R-squared number.
Sorry about that,
in
guys.
Bitcoin's case, for this model, it's 0.953. In layman's terms, That translates to 95.3% accuracy when applying all this data to its regression. In other words, its past 15-year history. And no other asset even comes close to that.
We are dealing, if this hypothesis that we are dealing with a power law is true, is not another formula. It's something very intrinsic to the system that it's almost like a fingerprint for the system. And the system will continue to do that in the future. In fact, as it grows, it should be even more stable. It's more difficult to change it. It's such a big network that it cannot be gamed.
Again, not a precise prediction, more of a ballpark number. But you can think about this kind of stuff more like predicting the climate. See, weather patterns are really hard to tell because they fluctuate day to day. But the climate is that long-term trend that we can predict. And that's sort of what these models are doing. And if Bitcoin continues to follow the power law like it has been for the last 15 years, then all of this should theoretically be accurate. But the question is, will this actually happen? Here's my opinion. I'm not a mathematician and I am not an astrophysicist, and you're not gonna find the answer from a dude that looks like Harry Potter. Everything I've shown you in this video, I learned from making this video after spending an embarrassing amount of time researching for it, so I don't think my opinion is gonna be very insightful or very valuable, but I wouldn't be very surprised if Bitcoin's price followed some kind of a power law. Now, as someone who has bought Bitcoin and held it for a long time now, one of my biggest worries is that Bitcoin was just a trend that would maybe eventually go away. But I think that worries disappeared once they approved the spot Bitcoin ETF, which tells me that Bitcoin is a new asset class and it's here to stay because it's been approved by the traditional financial markets. Now, my worry today is that for a lot of people, Bitcoin is almost like a religion, which I don't really care for that part, but I can look beyond it. Now, past that point though, I think Bitcoin is, for the first time in human history, something that combines technological, psychological, societal, financial, and macroeconomic concepts all into one thing that you can buy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So maybe Bitcoin's price is not a function of randomness, but instead, it's a power law that follows complex networks that exhibit very complex human behaviors. So maybe in 10 years, Bitcoin could be worth $1 million, or maybe this is completely wrong. But I'd love to know if you could find this video 18 months from 2024 after the halving, when we'll know more data. And I'd love to see 10 years into the future if you ever stumble on this video. I want to give credit to physicist Geoffrey West, who's published incredible amounts of research into this, Michael from Vsauce, who has
we actually figured out that Bitcoin actually has a power law which it follows, which means that it's damn near guaranteed to go up as long as the blockchain actually ceases to exist. Okay, so at the end of the day, like when it comes to Bitcoin, it's one coin that I can actually bet the bank on, which is it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Let's just take a look at the public companies that hold Bitcoin, right? We have MicroStrategy. They actually, their entry value was 4.6 billion. Their total value today, it's actually 10 billion, okay? When it comes to Galaxy Digital Holdings, it don't show you how much their value is, but it says they had 17,000 Bitcoin, right? And their full value today is actually $1 billion, okay? When it comes to Marathon Digital Holdings, their value is actually, their entry value was 189 million. Their total value today is 853 million. So it's that to the point where when you say Bitcoin is going away, it's to the point where how can you say Bitcoin is going away when it's like all these large companies believe in Bitcoin. All these large companies believe in crypto. And if they believe in Bitcoin, guess what? They believe in other cryptos also, which behind the scenes they accumulate. That's why I say like ICP, when it comes to QNC, when it comes to Hbar, a lot of these coins, they are actually gonna be squabbled up behind the scenes by big companies, okay? A lot of big companies are actually gonna start buying these coins we speak about on a daily basis, because it's like Bitcoin's just the beginning. Bitcoin's just the beginning. So it's to the point where like I believe in crypto, and I believe that there will be a bull run past 2025 for sure. As we just seen, Bitcoin follows the power law. So now that's confirmed, we can know that it's more than just the digital currency. This is a asset. This is a store of value. And for the other coins, they have different utilities. Some coins are used for actual cross-chain interactions, such as ICP, IT, actual efficiency improvements and stuff like that, which is ICP. Like QNT is built for interoperability. Like every coin has its own utility. So it's like, how can you say that this company or crypto's gonna be in one more bull run, when in reality, like, these companies are worth billions? A lot of these companies, they're gearing up and they're partnering with other companies that are worth billions. So it's like it don't really, why would banks and actual companies in the real world, large institutions, why would they actually partner with Bitcoin? Why would they partner with cryptocurrency? Why would they do any of these things if it was just gonna go to zero after 2025? Now AJ says, or AI says, if Bitcoin hit 150k, there will be no bull run anymore. It will move like stock. That's what I mean, but you gotta understand, Bitcoin at 150k, what's that? Like, what market cap is that? Let's just do the math for a second, right? 150k, so it's at 1.2 billion right now. That is like a $3 to $4 trillion market cap. What is that? That's nothing compared to how far it's gonna go. So it's like, I know Bitcoin is going to drag the price of altcoins up, but the thing we have to understand, guys, when we zoom out and we look at the market cap today, I think it can show the market cap here, it's only 2.8 trillion. Let's go on the stock market cap. Let's go on Apple's market cap. Apple market cap, okay? It's actually 2.8 trillion, okay? And that's one coin, that's one stock. 2.8 trillion, one stock. When we go on Amazon, let's take a look at Amazon for a second. Amazon market cap, right? Like, we're talking about trillions for one stock. Like, this is 1.96 trillion. When we look at the full market cap of stock market, it's probably over 50 trillion. I'm trying to figure out how I can get in a full market cap of stocks. I'm trying to figure out how I can get in a market cap of stocks, which is 100. Okay, so the world, what is the world stock market cap? The world has witnessed a formidable rise in global equity market since 2003, reaching a staggering total market capitalization of 109 trillion. Okay, it's worth 109 trillion dollars in 2023. So it's to the point where, like, I know that when it comes to the stock market, when it comes to crypto becoming stocks, we have a long way before we slow down. Like, we can at least get to let's just be reasonable and say like a 20 trillion market cap before we actually take a slow down. But what's good with it, David Do? What's good with it, Leroy Essel? Leroy Essel says that Bitcoin 62k and ICP now $12.10. Yeah. When it comes to the short-term price point, when we look at ICP and a short-term price point, I'm not really too worried about that. Like, as long as I have DCA into projects that I know are good, I know we're going to be just fine in the short term. But Bitcoin is taking a bit of a hit. When we look at ICP today, it's actually down 6%, which is a very big hit if you ask me. Like, but I don't believe that these dips will be here for over a year. Like, I do believe we have around 4 or 5 months left of bleeding. Once we have that 4 or 5 months of bleeding, I do feel like there's a recovery. Okay, so when it comes to ICP, it's to the point where, like, I I full-heartedly believe, and every crypto in general, I full-heartedly believe that crypto in general is gonna have more than one bull run left. Crypto in general is gonna have multiple bull runs on the way. Like 2025 is not the last one. 2025 is gonna be the first of many. If the stock market's been here for like hundreds of years now, like we have to understand that crypto is just gonna be the same way but more digital and more efficient. Like crypto is going to be a stock market within itself, and I believe like crypto is going to be the next standard. So it's like if billionaires are putting their money into this and Bitcoin is actually being used in the real world, you can buy multiple things with Bitcoin. Why do you think that's going to go anywhere? That is not going to go anywhere. So it's to the point where I know that eventually we're going to see it actually get more established in the real world. Repeat, eventually we will see crypto get more established in the real world. Okay. So I know that when it comes to people that say this is the last bull run, they'll be in regret when they don't buy the bottoms of 2027, because 2027 is going to be a huge opportunity for everybody to actually gain more wealth. That's what I will say. 2027 is going to be a huge opportunity for people to gain more wealth. What do you think about DIA coin, Dow coin? Let me check. Let me have a look at it right now. But guys, there's 50 in the stream. Let's get to 14 likes. Let's get to 14 likes real quick. I don't know which one it is, buddy. I don't know which one it is. I'm guessing it's this one. It can't be this one. Our volume is $724. It can't be this one. I don't know which coin it is, buddy, but yeah, as I said, right, people will be begging for these prices a few years from now. Exactly. Like, guys, even though we've had multiple bull runs, right, you still have to look at yourself as an early investor. Like, guys, if crypto is meant to be this thing where it has multiple utilities like tokenization, DeFi, smart contracts, AI, if it's meant to be this thing that has a multitude of utilities, then that means every kind of sector is going to have its moment at different times. Every sector is going to have its moment at different periods in the market, in the market's age. So it's like, so AI is going to be popular one time, then there'll be more to like the utility DeFi. It's like, it's going to be like every sector is going to have its era. And I don't believe like we're going to stop anytime soon. The reason I say we're not going to stop anytime soon is because a lot of these companies, they're just in the making now. They're just getting started now. So it's to the point where like people have visions of this market going to zero and it going to crash and actually never recovering. But it's like, why would these startup companies invest billions into crypto if it's not going to go anywhere? Why would these companies actually raise billions of dollars and hundreds of millions of dollars to launch coins if crypto is going nowhere? Why would they take that risk? Why would they take that risk? I don't think it'll be smart for them to take that risk. So it's to the point where like, I know that when it comes to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, it really is gonna be an industrial revolution. It's gonna be a thing where it's like this. We had the .com bubble, we had the stock market bubble, we had the real estate bubble. We're gonna have the crypto bubble where it's like the next way to actually get rich. In 2030, they're going to be promoting on the TV, promote it on the big screen, or crypto, invest in crypto. Like when it gets regulated, the same way you see stock market videos on advertisements on the TV, you will see crypto investments on the advertisements on the TV, because it'll be fully like adopted by then. And when it gets fully adopted, that means like it's going to be more stable. The price point is not going to increase as much, but by then, which is going to be around, I wouldn't say like 2040, 2050, when full adoption is here and full regulation is here, I do believe majority of us will be multi-millionaires. If not, some of us will be billionaires by then. So it's to the point where like, I just believe in crypto, and I believe it'll be here for the foreseeable future of technology, because like it's going to be integrated into Web3. Now we know it's going to be integrated into Web3. It's to the point where I just wholeheartedly believe that technology needs crypto. Technology needs crypto. If you're asking me, I believe like technology really needs crypto, because there's going to be a lot of things and utilities that the system we have now, it cannot actually solve these problems we need to solve without cryptocurrency. Like, cause crypto solves a lot of these trilemmas that companies have right now. That's why I find it very exciting when I see that companies or coins are actually designing themselves to actually be more applicable to big companies, be more like useful to big companies, to the point where like big companies can develop on the apps, develop on the blockchain, I mean, and also work with them and do partnerships, because like we're now integrating real life and crypto, and that chain is being connected. So it's to the point where it is huge to think that we are just this early when the market cap of crypto altogether is 2.9 trillion, and we know that the market cap of stocks is 109 trillion. So we have a lot of way to grow. We are very different to stocks. Stocks is literally just a share of a company, but this is like you have ownership over tokens that have utility that can be utilized by companies. So it's like if a company is doing well and they partner with Bitcoin, or they invest in Bitcoin, what makes you think that Bitcoin is going away anytime soon? It's not going to go away anytime soon, because these companies are already investing into it, so they're not going to lose or take it out. So I had to make this quick stream. Make sure you guys smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and yeah, I just had to make this quick stream. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. With that being said, it was actually Young Wealth. And yeah, that's just my answer to the question is, will crypto actually die in 2025? Will 2025 be the last crypto born for ICP, Hbar, QNC, LCS, and Kaspa? And my humble opinion, it won't. It'll be the first of many. Like, we have at least 3-4 more bull runs left before we slow down and actually move at the stock market, because I feel like our market capitalization potential is actually in the tens of trillions. So if we know it's in the tens of trillions, it's like we have no reason to think that it's going to stop anytime soon. If we are very early to the party, we have no reason to think that it's going to stop anytime soon. So it's to the point where like, I know that eventually crypto is going to shock minds and blow up, and it's actually going to stay very high, and it's not going to have as much bear markets as it used to have, because things are more stable. But until then, like, it's going to copy the stock market eventually, but until then we're going to have substantial growth on the upside. So get prepared for the gains. And with that being said, it was actually Young Wealth. I'm signing out with another stream. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm out. Peace.